The World Underneath. Number 1. Longleaf Flame. Chapter 1. The One Left. Someone knocks. Zane opens the office door to find William's girlfriend, Sienna, standing outside. She manages a pale smile and holds up a box. "This is for you, Zane." A martyr's badge sits inside. It's very conspicuous on the velvet cushioning. It reminds Zane of the spilled blood that night at Mount Eternal. Zane is silent for a moment before he steps aside to let her in. "I've been thinking, but I just can't accept it," Sienna says as she sits across from him. She cradles a cup of hot water in her hands. "William was always so busy after he joined the EVOL Special Rescue Unit, but he would always come home after he was done with work. Now..." Her hand clenches around the cup as her lips tremble uncontrollably. "If I don't see this badge, I can tell myself that he's still at work and just hasn't come home yet." Wiping her tears away, Sienna puts down the cup, gently pushing the box towards Zane. "Keeping this with me will only serve as a constant reminder that my William will never return. I can't take it anymore." Zane's expression becomes more solemn. After a while, he nods, opens the drawer closest to him, and puts the box inside. Sienna bows and says, "Thank you." As she prepares to leave, she glances at the swaying tree branches outside. "William told me that you and Dr. Noah would return to the university together every year during first-year admissions. He was always too busy to go. Zane, if you see Dr. Noah this year, please tell him William said hi." Chapter 2. Review. On the first day of school, Dr. Noah is already waiting at the entrance to Skyhaven University. The soon-to-be retired professor stands as straight as a pine tree. "Good morning, Dr. Noah." At Zane's greeting, Dr. Noah smiles. He turns and pats Zane's shoulder. "Well, it's just the two of us this year. Will was too busy, and now you are too. I wonder who will come with me next year." His expression changes as he sighs. "That boy, Carter? Never mind." "William sends his regards," Zane says. "I'll also accompany you every year from now on." "Well, that's nice to hear, but nothing is more important than the patients," Dr. Noah says. The two of them enter Skyhaven University and head to the auditorium. Many students are going the same way, still wearing the innocent excitement of being newly admitted. Their steps are lighter and faster than Dr. Noah's and Zane's. Soon enough, they get ahead of the crowd and disappear. The two push open the main door of the auditorium to find several seniors setting up the venue. A banner reading, 47th First Year Medical Student Oath Ceremony, hangs above the stage. Seeing Dr. Noah and Zane approaching, a smiling young man with a staff badge around his neck jumps up from the ladder and runs towards them, and bows. "Hello, Dr. Noah. I'm new. I heard from my seniors that you'll also be here for the oath." "I'm here to reminisce," Dr. Noah replies, then turns to Zane. "This is your senior, Zane." The young man looks surprised. "You're the legendary 35th academic god that we all pray to before exams, and now I finally get to see you in person. Many of us look up to you as a role model, me included. Can I take a picture with you later?" Zane is taken aback by the request, but eventually nods. As they talk, soft but solemn music begins to play in the auditorium. A large number of first years enter the hall in an orderly manner, standing and waiting for the ceremony to begin. The young man bows to them again and goes back to the stage to adjust the microphone. Dr. Noah takes a step back, making way for a few students to pass by. "I will have the utmost reverence for human life, maintain a sense of duty and dignity in practicing medicine, and adhere to good medical standards." The oath begins. The newly admitted medical students look on with determination. Their eyes sparkle under the morning light. Dr. Noah looks at Zane, recalling how many years ago he watched this man participate in the same ceremony. As a first-year student, Zane was younger than everyone else. His presence alone made him stand out. When he raised his hand to take oath, his composed and steady demeanor made Dr. Noah wonder how far this young man could go in the field of medicine. The oath ceremony ends. The students, imbued with the responsibility and honor of taking their oath, leave one by one. Dr. Noah leads Zane to the cafeteria through the excited crowd. William and Carter were like this too. Dr. Noah can't help but get caught in the moment. He shakes his head and changes the topic. Never mind. I heard the cafeteria has sweet and sour ribs today. Do you want to grab a bite? Zane smiles. All right. Near the end of the cafeteria is the towering research building. 3 students wipe their mouths, run past them, and mutter about their bacteria being dead. Startled sparrows fly over their heads from the treetops. Dr. Noah looks up at the building, lost in thought. Zane, have you heard of the rumor? The ghost in the office? Zane frowns, a little exacerbated. These kind of unscientific rumors are everywhere in the School of Medicine. Indeed, Dr. Noah says. His gaze lingers on Zane for a moment before he chuckles. I wonder who started it. Chapter 3. Heart. It was probably the year 2040 when the main cafeteria of the university had just been renovated. Dr. Noah got his soup and chose a place to sit. His phone vibrated twice. It was a message from the dean of the medical school. I read the reports that Zane submitted. The theoretical model is quite good. A lot of students have tried to explore their uses of protocols before, but their ideas were limited by the methods. They couldn't fully understand it either. I can't say for sure that Zane will make progress, but his report makes me feel this approach is worth trying. Then, another message. Your student has great ideas and seems to be quite bold. Dr. Noah didn't hide his pride. Of course he's good. I chose him. He put his phone on the table, intending to finish reading the paper he had started the day before, but the noise from the neighboring table got his attention. A security guard was sitting with 3 serious cafeteria ladies, all holding spoons. The guard, also solemn, waved his hand and began to talk. I'm telling you, there's something fishy going on in the research lab at the medical school. Really? I see the kids from the lab come to eat every day. They seem fine. The problem is in the research lab. The security guard knocked on the table, speaking with an air of mystery. I'm telling you, when I went on patrol on Monday, what happened? You know how a lot of people stay late in the research labs there? It's not a big deal. I just remind them to lock the doors when they leave. But on Monday, I saw everyone leave. When I was locking up, I heard what? I heard this swishing sound. It scared me half to death. I couldn't even figure out what it was. Are you sure you didn't just scare yourself? There must have been a student still in the lab. Well, I thought so too, so I checked again, but there really was no one. Really? Yes, really. I looked everywhere, and I couldn't see anyone. I was about to turn off the lights and leave when I thought I heard a voice. But you said there wasn't anyone? That's why I said it was totally abnormal. You guys have no idea just how many skeletons are in the research lab. What if one of them came back to life? Oh, stop saying nonsense. The cafeteria lady stood up with furrowed brows and returned to their stations. Losing his audience, the security guard prepared to leave. He turned around and saw Dr. Noah looking at him. Dr. Noah, I said what I said, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the medical school. He smiles. Dr. Noah waved his hands, signaling the guard not to worry. At the front of the cafeteria, Zane had gotten his meal and was trying to find a place to sit down. Seeing him, Dr. Noah beckoned Zane to sit next to him. Dr. Noah, we can proceed with the next experiment tomorrow, Zane said. Those were the first words out of his mouth after taking a seat. Stick to your plan. Dr. Noah didn't ask for more details. He had been closely following this project. He knew Zane never slacked off, for even a second, and had double-checked, triple-checked the data. He understood the importance of this project to Zane, and he trusted that he had it under control. As he ate, Dr. Noah remembered something. Tuesday morning, did you miss the exam? Zane's hand pauses for a moment, a hint of embarrassment flickering in his eyes. I'm sorry. If you don't take it, you won't get a score. The med school won't give you a special treatment just because you're you. I know. It's my fault for missing the exam. I don't deserve to have a score. Zane, Dr. Noah said, looking at the faint dark circles around the student's eyes. I know you're taking this project very seriously, and you're committed to your studies, but don't wear yourself out. After a moment of silence, Zane puts down his chopsticks and says softly, Dr. Noah, I'm not tired. I just want to move on to my clinical rotations as soon as possible. Dr. Noah nodded. He understood, yet he couldn't help but sigh. This child was too mature for his age and carried way too much on his shoulders. He wanted to say something to comfort Zane, but in the end, he said nothing. Thursday night, Dr. Noah stepped out of the research lab. He greeted the patrolling security guard and was about to leave when he saw the lights were still on in his office. It then occurred to him that a few days ago, he had given the keys to Zane, allowing him to access the research reports that he had completed several years ago at any time. Through the glass, he scanned the room for a moment before spotting Zane. Zane was sitting behind a human model, reading a paper. The security guard didn't see him, so he just turned off the lights and locked the door. Zane looked up in the darkness. It took him only a few seconds to accept his situation. He shook his head, holding the book. He walked to the switch and turned the light back on. In the corridor, the security guard, startled to see the light is on behind him, shivered as he turned around. He mustered his courage and headed back towards the office. Noah sighed and made a detour back to the office, taking Zane, who was still reading, out of the office. Walking with Zane to the entrance of the research lab, Noah thought back to the first time he saw him at the oath ceremony. He had mentored many students. Among them were many who were just as hardworking as Zane. They all got into medical school because of their dreams. Looking at Zane, he remembered a rumor he heard. I heard your parents were also doctors. You chose the medical field to follow in their footsteps, right? Zane smiled. Yes. Even the bedtime stories they told during my childhood were about the hospital. Most of the things at home that I could use to kill time were medical textbooks, so I was influenced by them. Is there another reason? No. That was too quick of a response. Besides, the way you're obsessing over this doesn't seem like there's only one reason. Zane was quiet for a long time, the sound of his footsteps carried by the wind. Just when Dr. Noah thought Zane wouldn't answer him, he spoke up. It's also because of someone. Dr. Noah kind of expected that. He stopped walking and turned to look at his student, who rarely opened up about his feelings. He saw Zane standing alone in the first snowfall of that winter. I don't want to be incapable of doing anything again when I become a threat to her. Chapter 4. Oath. A few days later, Dr. Noah received a call from the dean of the medical school. He sounded displeased. He massaged his temples as he went to the dean's office. As soon as he opened the door, he heard a quiet voice ask, "Why did you destroy your part of the experimental data, Zane?" Zane stood in the middle of the room, silent and expressionless. Sure, it doesn't affect the others, but it could have helped this project achieve its purpose faster. The dean stepped closer to Zane, his fingers tapping on the desk. There was more frustration and anger in his voice than the kind that came from a fellow researcher. I remember you worked hard in the lab for weeks. Did you think about how erasing your data means all your efforts have gone to waste? I know it wasn't an accident. Explain yourself. Behind Zane, his senior and lab mate, Carter, started to speak. As long as we are Quiet, boy. Dr. Noah pushed Carter behind him. I'll handle this. Let the students go first. Thank you, Dr. Noah. Zane walked over to the flower bed and sat down next to Dr. Noah. He chuckled at Zane's thanks. I told the dean about you wanting to leave the group too. If you really want to thank me, write fewer negative comments about me in your dissertation acknowledgments. You're very brave, Zane. Worried that the dean's words might affect him, Dr. Noah added, not everyone is willing to abandon research they've put so much effort into. Dr. Noah, this project is about the application of protocore energy in interventional cardiology procedures. But during the experiment, Zane closed his eyes and shook his head. He took out the only remaining image from his data and handed it to Dr. Noah. The picture was a heart that was mostly covered in black crystals. To be more precise, it looked like a human heart, beating and growing out of the black crystals. Final chapter, Chapter 5. Trek. Dr. Noah's thoughts returned to the autumn of 2047. The students, having just attended the first-year oath ceremony, finished their meals and are just about to attend their first class at Skyhaven University's School of Medicine. He and Dr. Zane have also finished eating and are taking their trays back. Still savoring his meal, Dr. Noah walks out of the cafeteria with Zane. The sweet and sour ribs this year aren't great, but no matter how bad the food is, I always want to eat here when I come back. Once I retire, I'll leave Lincoln City. At the front gate, Dr. Noah turns around and pats Zane's arm. When you're free, I'll take you to a restaurant near my home. The food there is delicious. As soon as he finishes speaking, his phone rings. Glancing at the caller ID, he sighs. And that's why doctors should never say they're free. Then, with a serious expression, he starts walking away to answer the call. Dr. Noah, I'll drive you back to the hospital. After the call ends, Zane walks with him to the parking lot. As they pass the flower bed outside the research lab, Dr. Noah remembers something very important. Have you visited her? Zane pauses. Then he says, Not yet. Are you afraid? No, he shakes his head, his voice steady. Dr. Noah gets out of the car in front of Asko Hospital. He watches as Zane drives away. When he disappears into the traffic, the elderly doctor slowly turns around. For some reason, that kid always feels surreal. It feels as though, despite standing in the crowd, he would have never been a part of it. He remembers that night when a single light glowed in the campsite during a blizzard in the Arctic. He remembered the lonely figure leaving the cold wind the next day when the experiment's data was destroyed. Perhaps the path the young man walks has only heavy snow and level ground. He's destined to walk alone. As his teacher, Dr. Noah can only hope that one day a fork in the road will appear before the young man, offering him a tranquil respite. World Underneath. Number 2. Snowy Stairs. Chapter 1. Die in Spring. It doesn't matter if the annual salary is in the millions, or if the research lab is top-notch. Without me, Carter, could Xander Sciences have come this far? What truly drives the development of science is not experiments, but ideas. I'm such a person. And so is Zane. That's why you need him, right? Laughter echoes in the conference room. Carter stands up, leans on the table, and tosses the contract back to the executives. If the medical genius Zane valued these things, why would he accept Asko Hospital's invitation? Can a hospital offer more than our research institute? What do you suggest, Dr. Carter? I didn't get my doctorate degree. With a smile on his lips that can send chills down someone's spine, Carter glances at the Institute director, asking the question. "Give me the file of cabin 607's patient. Let me try." After a round of New Year's fireworks, 2048 officially begins. During the year, Dr. Carter decided to quit school. This area of Imperial Ring Park was just newly abandoned construction site. The property owner declared bankruptcy, and it turned out they had invested in the emerging industry of protocore technology in Skyhaven. The homeowners formed a group to defend their rights on the construction site. Carter and Zane happened to pass by and saved an elderly man who had a heart attack. After the ambulance took the man away, they sat down in a restaurant for a late-night snack, discussing the trending topic at the time: the ethics of applying protocore technology to revive dead cells. At dawn, the door of the restaurant opened again. Zane headed in the opposite direction in the morning fog, and they never saw each other again. Now, vibrant plants have replaced the construction rubble, and Imperial Ring District has been revitalized with the resurgence of Lincoln City. However, Carter believes that no matter how the world changes, Zane will remain the same. He knows this is the path his stubborn junior will take every day for his morning jog. As he strolls through the park, a familiar voice is heard from behind a bush. "But you're a doctor. Please save Pilot." He already passed away. Following the voice, Carter finds Zane squatting next to a crying child by a bench. The boy pulls at Zane's arm. A stray dog lies motionless in front of them. It's not breathing. "Pilot always played with me. I even bought it cookies." Pilot knows. He's very happy, Zane murmurs. He gently pats the child's head. "But I don't want Pilot to die." Carter laughs to himself and walks over to them, protocore in hand. "Hey kid, Pilot can live again with this." He casually joins in on the conversation. Zane looks up. His softened gaze turns to cold at the sight of the protocore. He stands up and stares at Carter's smiling face. "Death is a part of life. We can't change that." Chapter 2. Yesterday, once more. "You're still cold-hearted, Zane. The dog also counts as a life, and the poor kid is heartbroken." Carter follows Zane to the restaurant they visited all those years ago, which is now a fast food restaurant. He squints and looks around as if admiring its rebirth. If someone wants a life to continue, how could you know if you can't bring it back? Shouldn't you try first? Carter remembers the frightened look in the child's eyes when he brought the protocore close to the stray dog. Then again, you're right. Most people don't even want to try. Tell me, is this natural law an unshakable moral boundary? Or is it just a comforting phrase people use? His voice drips with sarcasm. "I thought I made that clear," Zane says. He places his phone on the table after ordering breakfast. "I see you haven't changed at all, Carter." No, that's where you're wrong. Xander Sciences has given me a lot of opportunities, without allowing things to be dismissed. Carter takes out an elegant-looking business card from his bag and slides it across the table towards Zane. "If you had kept going, maybe you would have already broken free from the shackles of natural law," Carter says. "Zane, your talents are wasted at ASCO Hospital. Xander Sciences doesn't want to see a genius like you be forgotten. The evol technology you're insisting on is so last year. Nobody wants an artificial lump that needs to be charged in their heart now. Protocore tech is the golden brick that will pave the way to the future." Carter is confident. The Xander Sciences Research Institute logo and the research he's in charge of will easily catch the eye of top experts worldwide. Zane doesn't take the card. Instead, he shifts his gaze to the window. "Hold on to that brick then. If you drop it, Your foot won't be the only thing that's hurting. Carter shrugs. He knows moving this iceberg wouldn't be easy. The business card is an opportunity for Zane to reject him. He brings out his trump card. Take a look at this. It's a case from our project. A very rare condition. Carter sends the meticulously prepared medical record of cabin 607's patient to Zane's phone. Zane doesn't move, so Carter reaches out and accepts it for him. The patient's heart surgery is scheduled for next week. The other organs are in such a terrible state that he may not survive the side effects of the treatment. We're at a loss. Why don't you take a look? Knowing Zane can glean insights from abnormal data in the medical record, he doesn't provide any more detail. As expected, Zane looks away, furrowing his brow in barely distinguished displeasure. Are you unsure of what to do? If that's the case, Xander Sciences wouldn't have kept him until now. Smiling, Carter nods. That's why we need you. My skills are nothing compared to yours, and Dr. Noah's. I can't be as meticulous and efficient as you. The restaurant owner brings out a bowl of sweet tofu pudding and places it in front of Zane. Carter laughs again. Dr. Noah thinks highly of you, you know. He would mention you to me, and will, all the time back then. It made us really curious about you before we met. Eating a spoonful of his hot and spicy soup, he continues. You may not like Xander Sciences, but the patient is innocent, just like that dead dog. He also has families waiting for him. Take a look, Dr. Zane. It won't violate your medical ethics. Chapter 3. Undying Tree. The person Carter has been waiting for still hasn't stepped through the doors of Xander Sciences, even after cabin 607's patient is brought into the operating room. 5 hours later, the less than successful surgery forced him to confront the gap between him and a genius once more. They worked on the theoretical model of this research back in school. He even outperformed Zane on this front. Yet when it comes to applying it, things never go smoothly. Where does he fall short compared to Zane? He desperately wants to know what Zane discovered and why he stopped researching it. Dr. Carter? Dr. Zane is here. Carter stiffens at the news. He quickly raises his head, masking his frustration. By the time he swivels around in his office chair and stands up, his usual, confident demeanor is back. Xander Science's life pods look like enormous capsules with countless intertwined tubes connecting them to the surrounding equipment. Red tubes suck away death while the blue ones inject new life. The daily cost of one device could burn through a month's worth of resources in a regular hospital's ICU. Xander Sciences has 15 of these. Outside cabin 607's glass window, Zane stares at the patient who's soaking in the liquid, shriveled like a skeleton. Familiar, isn't it? Carter walks up to the cabin's exterior, crossing his arms and admiring the ward that looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. You're late? His heart regeneration failed, so we had to put a new one in to keep him going. How did you perform the surgery? You'll know everything if you join us, though. Actually, you won't struggle with this conundrum. You might be the one most familiar with it. Zane being here means there's hope. Feeling that he has the upper hand, Carter teases him. Remember the project we worked on for several years at school? The same one you stopped. I brought it to Xander Sciences. Now it has a name. X-Heart. Zane frowns. Have you conducted animal experiments with it? Of course. We've completed all the standard procedures. Otherwise, I wouldn't have invited you. When he was admitted, he only had less than 6 months. It's been 2 years now. This is what I offered him. And he's happy to be a pioneer. But I get it. You're a genius here. I only implemented a genius's great ideas. After a moment of silence, Zane speaks again. Have you seen William since then? He died at Mount Eternal. You were the closest to him in the team. Carter doesn't understand why Zane has to bring him up. After some thought, he guesses Zane wants to bring attention to his death. Mount Eternal, huh? The view's good, but there was an anomaly with the Wanderers a few years ago. Before he can finish, Zane gets up and leaves. Carter quickly follows him. Wait, aren't you here to join us? Zane keeps walking, pulling out his phone. I'm here to warn you. Hiding a Trojan horse in the medical record you sent can easily get you arrested. Carter watches as Zane walks further and further away, unmoving as always. His painstaking efforts are apparently worthless in Zane's eyes. In the empty corridor, Carter clenches his fists, unable to hold back his words. Zane, I'm giving you an opportunity. You better consider it. Our job is to save people. If we can control life and death, why shouldn't we? Don't you remember what we thought every time we failed a surgery? Give me another chance. I could save him if I had another chance. This is the chance we've always wanted. There is no we, Zane replies. Do you remember how happy everyone was when the experiment worked? It was like a message left by God. Now we finally respond. Zane, do you believe in God? At the end of the corridor, Zane finally stops and looks back at him, his hands in his coat pockets. You're crazy. Chapter 4. Gone. After leaving cabin 607, Zane walks to the elevator. The sound of rolling wheels comes from an unassuming door next to him. Through the small window, he can see a hallway. A medical chart used for waste disposal passes by. There's a lifeless hand poking out from underneath the white cloth. Make way. A simple-looking couple blocks the cart. The masked researcher sounds exhausted and tries to push the cart forward. Isn't this what you agreed to when you accepted the Institute's donation? Once they select him, we have full usage and disposal rights. He's gone now, so there's no need to play the part of a dutiful parent. The woman tightly clutches the cart's iron rails. She's almost kneeling. But he's our son. Please let us see him one last time. We promise we won't tell anyone. Just so you know, he came straight from the operating table. He doesn't have a heart anymore. Do you still want to see him? Excuse me, Zane says as he opens the door. Could you leave him with me for a moment? Over the past few months, Zane has become well known at Xander Sciences, so the researcher recognizes him. All Zane wants is a clean room and a set of surgical tools. The researcher hesitates. It's a favor that can be easily granted. All right, but no more than half an hour. After a while, the young man who had lost his heart finally appears before his parents in a clean, intact state. The father presses his forehead against the wall, his hand tightly clutching his chest as he bites his lips. The mother bends over the bed, her head buried in deep, white sheets. Moments pass, and then Zane hears her muffled sobbing. Son, we've come to say goodbye. In the surveillance room, Carter watches the whole thing through the screen. A smirk plays on his lips as he opens the comms. Zane, do you remember what we discussed before? We talked about it for a long time. In this era of technological advancement, why must we face death? On the screen, Zane slowly turns to the camera. Unfortunately, he's just too far away for Carter to see his expression. My perspective hasn't changed. We will face death eventually, one way or another. Then, Zane glances at the couple. Just not like this. Final chapter, Chapter 5, Snow Depth. A few days later, Zane officially joins ASCO's EVOL Cardiac Medical Research Lab as its principal investigator. The night before, Carter sent him a congratulatory message and told him about the death of the patient at cabin 607. His name was Felix, only 45 years old. He helped a lot of poor students during his lifetime, giving them a comfortable and affluent life. He also allowed them to participate in our great experiments near the end of their lives. What a shame. Despite Xander's scientists sparing no expense to keep him alive, he still passed away after 2 years. But don't you think this is just the beginning? Zane doesn't reply. Unsatisfied, Carter sends another picture. It's a failed attempt at resuscitating a patient in cabin 607. He lies on the floor outside the life pod, a cluster of black crystals blooming on the left side of his chest like a magnificent dahlia. Zane, if the person lying on the operating table was your lover, would you let her die? After that message, a thought hits Carter like the first drop of rain falling outside the window. He suddenly understands. Why go through such great lengths to pursue Zane? What he really needs is not like-minded colleagues, but a pair of hands. Ones that can carry out God's mission to allow for God's descent. Zane's hands. Carter remembers that Zane became a doctor because of a girl. A person like him wouldn't join Osco Hospital for no reason. He has to be taking over Dr. Noah's work. If he can see which cases are being transferred from Dr. Noah to Zane, he can find that girl. That's his trump card. And he thought so highly of Zane. As long as he has that mysterious girl, he knows he'll have those hands. In an instant, countless thoughts surge into Carter's brain like bubbles in a soda can. Maybe that girl can be more interesting than Cabin 607's patients. Considering how Dr. Noah and Zane seem to be unable to help her, maybe her value to X-Heart would far exceed that of Zane's. Zane, you should know you're rejecting a path to life's truth. My answer hasn't changed either. I've always believed that death is just a small obstacle. It can be overcome in due time. Happy, Carter tosses his phone onto the carpet and spins in place. His horizons have expanded now that he's changed gears. He pours himself half glass of red wine in celebration and raises it to the highest point of the city lights as it's soaked in heavy rain. A toast to humanity's greatest dream. In a dimly lit study, Zane reviews the patient records Dr. Noah transferred to him. He sees a name he knows all too well. He recalls the conversation he had with Carter back in med school. They sat across from each other at the restaurant. Zane had stared at his senior as he was about to eat. Even if we can avoid death, we still need it, he had said. Now, Zane rubs his temples. He stares at the name for a long time. Then he takes off his glasses, leaning back slowly in the chair. As if time and space intertwined, Carter's indignant voice rings in his ears and questions him once more. Wouldn't you use everything in your power to prevent your loved ones from dying? Of course he would. Zane answered this question countless times in his heart, and no matter how many years have passed, his answer still hasn't changed. He would do everything he could to prevent her death and save her, but the night is long. The fog is dense. If the end of the road is truly what's left... Zane closes his eyes. At least, he has another option. His last one. And before the storm arrives, he only hopes he can walk a little further on this rugged path. He could also hold her hand and resist the avalanche-like onslaught of selfish wishes together. World underneath. Bouquets and dirges. Chapter 1. Emerald Vines. This one's for Talia. On the trellis are emerald-colored vines. Raphael holds one of them. Soon, this garden, full of exotic plants, will be the place where Talia and her lover will hold their wedding. Not bad. It matches the design of the necklace I gave her. The garden's owner, Charles, is a jewelry designer. He enjoys gardening in his spare time and has done conservation work for endangered plants and animals. This is how he had met Raphael. Choosing flowers is a psychological experience, Charles says. It's a process akin to someone trying to understand another person. Really? Raphael draws a series of random lines on a sheet of paper. I choose them based on the impression they gave. It doesn't sound as cool. People have also said that giving flowers to a lover is a surefire way to their heart. Charles remembers a girl he had caught a glimpse of in Raphael's photo album. If you ever want to do that, you're welcome to pick any flowers from my garden. Stop reading stuff from those weird articles. Charles shrugs and responds with a helpless smile after being teased. He walks back to the path that's adorned with a faint floral fragrance. When he returns, he hears a conversation between Raphael and Talia. Are you really not going to attend? It's my wedding. Nope. The aloof artist continues to doodle. His phone is on the speaker, and his responses are quick and simple. If Charles wasn't doing a commission for Talia's wedding, he would have believed Raphael. But I finally found someone I like. You said the same thing last time. And how long ago was that? Why are you so stingy with your blessings? I blessed you when you made the pact. Any more would be pointless. What do you mean? Not everyone is as lucky as you. I'm hanging up. Raphael ends the call and hands the sketch in his hand to the jewelry designer. The once chaotic lines are now an elegant yet fancy bouquet. The pencil may not be able to display any color beyond black, but Charles can still imagine the blue that Raphael chose earlier. He carefully takes the sketch and hands over the necklace design. This is from the plan we previously agreed upon. The gemstone is Talia's favorite and matches the color of her wedding dress. Before he can finish his sentence, they hear Talia's laughter from Raphael's phone. Raphael's expression changes when he realizes the call is still going. Talia sounds even happier than before. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. I'll be waiting. See you then. The call actually ends this time. Charles chuckles and ignores Raphael's annoyance. There's no point in hiding it if you're going anyway. He points out a few modifications about the gemstone setting to Raphael. You put a lot of care into the details. I'm sure my plan will be harshly criticized. Raphael lowers his gaze and doesn't reply. Charles thinks he's maybe thinking about his lover. Sensing that Raphael has no intention of responding, he changes the conversation topic to the necklace's color scheme. Chapter 2. Wedding. Passing through the archway, decorated with emerald vines, Raphael reaches the center of the fountain. The relaxed atmosphere in the garden makes him sigh, even though it's what he had expected. He picked out 2 suits for today, but after a few minutes, he ended up not wearing either. Instead, he chose comfortable, casual clothes suited for dancing, which turned out to be the best choice. If Raphael wore a suit, he would have been teased by Talia, the same person who's wearing a simple dress and dancing barefoot on the grass. He's too plain. If he fell into a pond, let alone the sea, no one would be able to find him. Our Talia is the most dazzling pearl in the ocean. If you can find her, wouldn't you be able to find him too? At a small round table, a group of Lemurians are whispering to each other. Raphael turns to see a familiar face he hadn't seen since the disaster. He cheerfully plays an ancient Lemurian instrument, a happy melody flowing from his moving fingertips. Thank your friend for me. His garden is beautiful, Talia says to Raphael after she makes her way through the crowd to him. He was kind to let us hold the ceremony here. Raphael's gaze shifts to the man not far away from Talia. He doesn't mind? He likes whatever I like, she says. She spins around in front of him. Her flared skirt twirls, making her look like a graceful swimming fish. He designed this for me. It's pretty good, right? It suits you. Raphael chuckles, recalling Charles' words. The process of choosing flowers for someone is also the process of understanding that person. Maybe the same applies to designing clothes. He's silent for a few seconds. He drinks his wine and pushes the empty cup back onto the table. Raymond is dead. Talia takes a deep breath, a smile blooming on her face. Then we can all get a good night's sleep for now. Yeah, for now. She understands the emphasis Raphael puts in his words. Crossing her arms, her gaze wanders over the singing, dancing, and chatting people. Guess you don't want fleeting happiness. Raphael subtly turns away. To avoid Talia, he inevitably has to look at the guests attending her wedding. Almost all the familiar and unfamiliar Lemurian survivors are present. The music is harmonious, and the singing is rich. But every smile seems to be covered with a gray veil. Then he hears Talia's melodious voice again. I'm getting married not because I've forgotten the past, but because I want to live in the present. Look at every Lemurian here. They're all looking for an anchor, a reason to live. I found mine, and others have found theirs, Talia says, her eyes locked onto Raphael. But there are still those who don't realize how important it is to have an anchor. Raphael shakes his head. Lemuria is more important. Lemuria will always be important. Talia puts down her glass, looking serious. But what about you? When your own heart is devouring you, is there anything that can pull you back? Can you really let her go? The light in Raphael's eyes dims at her last question. Raphael, have you ever thought about your own wedding? He's silent for a while. Then he takes off the boutonniere from his chest, places it on the table, and turns to leave the bustling scenery that doesn't belong to him. No. Chapter 3. Gardenia. Freedom, happiness, and rebirth. Charles hangs the shovel back on the tool board, nodding at the yellow gardenia Raphael had been staring at. That's what it means in the language of flowers. You giving it to someone? A relative's daughter. Raphael stands under the courtyard door's eaves, tilting his head to observe the flower petals. Can you tell me what it means again? People believe it represents freedom, happiness, and rebirth. I highly recommend it for the opening ceremony for the school year or a birthday party. I'll take it. Raphael returns the sample to Charles and walks past him. Help me arrange a bouquet. I'll take it to her funeral. Her father can no longer give her flowers. Funeral? Charles stops counting his tools and makes a mistake on his paper. Wouldn't that be a bit... It's fine, Raphael says. Based on what you told me, it's suitable for a funeral too. Chapter 4. Lament. Raphael crosses the courtyard as it's bathed in a golden glow. He walks through the corridor where Raymond's glorious deeds are being played on a loop on a digital screen. Then, he arrives at Raymond's house. Raymond's funeral is being held in the living room. At the entrance, the butler mechanically takes the condolence money from the mourners. He looks stiffly and professionally ahead until Raphael passes him. He narrows his eyes and quickly sizes Raphael up, seemingly surprised by his presence. Raphael ignores these malicious glances and walks straight to the center of the hall where the glass fish tank is placed. He pauses for a second or two in front of the mermaid's skeleton inside, then turns to Raymond's coffin and stands with the others. Mom, this is so boring. We were supposed to be on vacation in the Arctic. The child's voice echoes clearly in the hall. Her innocent comment makes the parent cover the brat's mouth in embarrassment, quickly returning to a sorrowful expression after flashing an apologetic smile. After all, she had yet to secure the inheritance she wanted. When it's Raphael's turn to mourn, he steps forward. He leans over the coffin and places the carefully selected gardenias on it, making sure the most beautiful side faces the fish tank. In the midst of all the black and white, this bright yellow bouquet is the only burst of color. He clasps his hand together and closes his eyes. At a barely noticeable angle, he aligns himself with the bouquet, silently reciting an eulogy. A familiar song begins. Talia stands at the very front of the hall, singing a dirge. Raphael opens his eyes. The dazzling sunlight passes through the fish tank, and the skeleton inside silently gazes at the sky in a forever frozen pose. He knows who Talia is singing for. just as she knows who Raphael came for. "Murderer! You murderer!" As Raphael is about to leave, an elderly woman suddenly pushes through the crowd. She rushes out of the hall, pointing at his retreating figure and screaming at the top of her lungs. "My boy was only 39. It was supposed to be time for rebirth, a fresh start. But he died because of that stupid, frivolous painter. A painting that doesn't make any sense. Raphael, you killed my son." Like sharks smelling blood in the water, the reporter's cameras instantly surround him. The mourners in the darkened hall look on, excited, yet they also carry the right amount of regret. No one steps forward to intervene. The child who wants to go on an Arctic vacation watches with interest, standing on her tiptoes to take a lollipop from her mother. How sad. With her son dead, the anchor that held her up was being taken by a dark tide. Raphael calmly looks around the room full of cameras and leaves. Chapter 5. Bouquet. Another week passes. Raphael slips away from the uninspiring new work, and Thomas is repeating nagging to visit Talia in a small house in Verona. Talia is admiring a dress. It's one of countless other dressings that her new husband had designed for her. It's entirely black with just a stroke of white. Talia points at the black part of the dress. "He said this is him." Then she points at the white. "And this is me. What do you think? Interesting, right?" Raphael pours himself a glass of water and takes a sip without looking. Has he ever designed a wedding dress? "What do you mean?" Talia raises an eyebrow and then she smiles. "No, but if you want to commission him, I can help you get a family discount." When Raphael leaves, Talia tosses him a small bouquet of flowers. He turns and catches them. "I wanted to toss the bouquet to you that day, but you left early. This is what I had left." Raphael looks down at his hand. An unknown flower sits in his palm, reminding him of someone. On his way back, he sees many familiar faces among the Verona street performers. Those people stand amidst the music, color, and dancing bubbles. They smile at him. Raphael remembers what Talia said at the wedding. Everyone was looking for an anchor. It's why they're still here. He waves back, hoping that they can make their dream come true. Then he turns around and goes home. Final chapter. Chapter 6. Gloriosa. "Are you tired from painting? You don't look so good." Charles wraps up the fiery flame lilies Raphael chose and hands them over. "Are these also a gift? I think they suit you more." "Great." Raphael takes the bouquet. "I'm thinking of giving them to someone." Are you giving yourself away?" Raphael never mentioned it, but Charles had a hunch a long time ago. There must be someone in his heart that he didn't want to mention. "My garden is always open to you." He pats Raphael's shoulder, then sees him and his little flame lilies off. The flowers are light. Their weight in his hand are almost non-existent. He walks for a long time after leaving the garden, but he still hasn't decided whether or not he should give his bouquet away. He hasn't come up with a good excuse either. When your own heart is devouring you, is there anything else that can pull you back? He remembers the question Talia once asked and avoids the underlying meaning. Can this flame lily bouquet become his anchor? He's not sure. Under the night sky, the black waves haven't fully rolled in. For now, he still has a chance to get a good sleep. Until he must face the never-ending tsunami in his dreams, alone. World Underneath. 4. From the Stars. Chapter 1. Sweeties. 2033. Summer. 1 salted egg yolk cheesecake and 1 chocolate chiffon cake. Jeremiah, standing by the counter of Sweetie's cake shop, leans slightly forward. His bright eyes follow the girl behind the counter. "You've been coming here a lot recently, Jeremiah. Are you addicted to the cakes now?" Jeremiah's eyes dart around as he reveals a slightly goofy smile. "Maybe." 2 boxes of beautifully wrapped cakes are placed in front of him. Jeremiah pays and then pushes the cheesecake back. "This is for you." The girl is taken aback, a hint of surprise flickering across her face before she quickly recovers. "If you keep doing this, my dad, my boss will say that you're playing favorites. He'll be upset you're only treating me and not him." She turns to look at the middle-aged man behind her, who's busy decorating cakes with a piping bag. She turns back and shrugs at Jeremiah. "It's a secret then," Jeremiah whispers, leaning closer. "This is Jeremiah from the Planetary Shuttle Squad 2, requesting a secret cake exchange with Squad 1 member Bella. Please respond. Over." The girl chuckles, then quickly covers her mouth and whispers, "Squad 1, Bella, message received. Beginning cake transfer. Over." "Okay, Jeremiah, your friend is still outside. Don't keep him waiting." "I'm going," Jeremiah says, his tone suddenly a little awkward. "By the way, you haven't forgotten about dinner at my house on Sunday, right?" Ding, ding, ding. The door of the cake shop closes. Xavier, who had been waiting for a long time, glances at Jeremiah. "I thought you said you couldn't get used to Earth food." "Oh," Jeremiah says, waving a hand. "I bought it for displaying purposes." Xavier raises an eyebrow. Before he can say the words Jeremiah knows is coming, Jeremiah quickly pats his shoulder. "Come on, teach me how to make some Earth dishes. You've been researching recipes recently, right?" Chapter 2. Home. "Bella loves marigolds. I want her to see them when she comes over for dinner," Jeremiah says, holding a vase as he passes by Xavier. He peeks out from behind the orange blossoms. "Where do you think I should put it? At the door? By the dinner table? Or on the balcony?" After being asked the same thing for the 23rd time, Xavier glances at the door adorned with plants, then at the dining table surrounded by fresh flowers, and finally at the balcony that can only be described as a sea of flowers. I think there's no space." "Really?" Baffled, Jeremiah looks around the house he rented a week ago. "I didn't think it was this small when I saw it." "You could hold it," Xavier suddenly says. "Huh?" "Hold it and give it to her when you open the door." Jeremiah scratches his head. "Oh, we're just friends. I don't want her to misunderstand." He turns to Xavier with a playful grin. "Have you used this trick before?" Xavier glances at him. "What?" "What do you mean, what? Don't play dumb." Jeremiah nudges him. Xavier walks to the sofa, picks up a magazine, and sits down. "Fine, don't tell me." The oven in the kitchen signals that the food is ready. Jeremiah insisted Xavier stay for the dinner that he sets up to greet his friend. His reason? It adds a human touch. Wearing oven mitts, he takes out the baked cheesy rice and sets it down in front of Xavier. Bella says that since we've met, we should make a mark in each other's lives. Otherwise, there's no point in meeting. Suddenly, it starts pouring outside. Xavier stares at the drenched sky, and silence envelops the room. "Come on, help me taste this. I've been taste testing this for the past few days. I can't even tell if it's good or bad anymore." Xavier looks away from the window and scoops up some rice covered in cheese and tomato sauce. The spoon is connected to the bowl via a string of cheese. "It's alright. Needs more salt." "Really?" Jeremiah frowns, eating a spoonful himself. Even after coming with the backtrackers to this place over 200 years ago, he still can't fully understand the diverse tastes of the Earthlings. But since Xavier suggested it, there must be a reason. So he nods. "I'm just treating her to a meal. When Isaiah was looking for us before, she helped cover for me. I know nothing can happen between us. We don't age the way people do here. It wouldn't be fair." As Jeremiah eats, he rambles on, not even realizing the unease in his voice. Don't worry, I don't have any ulterior motives. Besides, I haven't finished my main task yet. I'm the one who has to fix the spaceship's launcher, right? The rain outside is relentless. Through the window, the raindrops seem to be capable of piercing through anything. They crisply pitter-patter as they hit the glass. Xavier puts down his spoon, wipes his mouth, and stands up. Forget it. You haven't fixed it in 200 years. You might as well focus on dating. What? In a flash of light, Xavier disappears, along with the newly modified accelerator Jeremiah had on the table. He sighs and takes the dishes back to the now empty kitchen. If someone told him hundreds of years ago, back when Traceback 2 was riddled with holes from an asteroid as they were in cosmic turbulence, he would face the mundane problems of greasy dishes, he would have laughed. He understands Xavier's indifferent reaction. As the leader of the Backtrackers, Xavier must have seen more of his former companions leave compared to Jeremiah. Asteroids, turbulence, and the collapse of wormholes couldn't tear Traceback 2's team apart. With Xavier there, they managed to break through the universe's most impregnable space-time barrier. Yet, such an invincible team eventually dissolved in the mundane times of this era, from a loved one handing them flowers. The radio behind Jeremiah switches from its regular program to a news broadcast. The year isn't over yet, but we've already predicted that this will be the heaviest, most widespread rain. It's expected to end on Saturday. Sunday will be sunny. It'll be perfect for a trip. Let's look forward to a wonderful weekend. He turned off the TV and walks to the flower-filled balcony. There's a tranquil sunset. No monsters, no fluctuations, and no need to fight in the cosmos. Living like this is the reason why many people left the Backtrackers. Maybe those who left just missed home too much. Chapter 3. Waterfall Inside Forest. After leaving Jeremiah's fabricated home, Xavier walks under the moonlight to a secluded forest on the city's outskirts. Behind the dense forest and the signal-blocking zone is the largest cosmic signal transmission and reception station. It was secretly built by Lincoln City. He could technically teleport to any place he had been before using his evol, but he always slows down when passing the signal station. The blue light on the top of the tower flickers, almost blending in with the starry sky. Apart from that, most of the buildings in the base aren't tall. They're sparsely scattered in the forest clearing. Occasionally, maintenance staff would walk around, their whispers echoing in the distance. These faint sounds are as comforting as the cosmic white noise they had heard when traveling through unfamiliar galaxies. His mind wanders back to the seemingly endless journey back when he slept in the hibernation pod. He heads deeper into the forest, through a pitch-black valley, walking until no buildings are visible. There, he reaches his destination, the crash site of Traceback 2. Only part of the wreckage is above ground. He pushes away the vines and places Jeremiah's accelerator into the launcher. He lights it with his evol. Little specks of light float from his hand onto the leaves below. Soon, blue electricity starts flowing, and a cold mechanical noise echoes under the starry sky. He sits down in the pilot's seat, quietly waiting for the result. Fortunately, the forests in every space-time sound and smell the same. He closes his eyes, thinking about his home. Some say that from a higher dimensional perspective, time doesn't exist. The past, present, and future unfold in the same place. A person can only see the world before them because their eyes can only perceive the light projected from it. If this is true, then somewhere in the vast cosmos, there might exist a point where light from countless timelines converges. From there, one could see every star that ever existed, from the explosion of the universe to its eventual collapse, and witness every possible ending the world could take in under an infinite number of choices. The mechanical roar subsides, leaving the forest in silence and darkness. It's hopeless without protocore energy. He collects his scattered thoughts and opens his eyes to a cascading waterfall of stars in the forest. He raises his hand, as though he wants to catch them. If time really doesn't exist, then within the sea of stars before him, would he see Phylos? And his and her little planet? Chapter 4. Catastrophe. A year passes. Jeremiah still hasn't found a suitable power source to start the spaceship. The rented home gradually became his real home. After arriving in this era, several unwritten rules were formed among the backtrackers, such as changing residence regularly and avoiding unnecessary contact. After obtaining the identity of a normal person, Jeremiah loses all contact with Xavier. He did look for him many times privately, but in a way he feels as though this fruitless search might be better. Whether it's because of guilt or not wanting another traitor like Isaiah to trouble Xavier, he doesn't know. Besides, with his current appearance, gloves and an apron, he really wouldn't know what to say if he were to meet his former captain. His days drifting in Traceback 2 feel like a dream from a previous life. Jeremiah's biggest worry now is how to give Bella a ring and invite her to live in his home he built for her. But before he can come up with a satisfactory plan, a 3-day polar night begins. He had a bad feeling about it, all of which comes to fruition when, at 3 a.m. on the last day, he sees a wanderer. It pierces through the skyscrapers of Lincoln City like a meteor, shooting right through the psychological defenses of its citizens. People who have never seen such a monster are captured by death as they are enveloped in fear. They cry as they say their final goodbyes to family, friends, and lovers. Then, they're mercilessly crushed by a wanderer that somehow appeared behind them, becoming a handful of dust. Jeremiah reaches Sweetie's cafe shop. He only sees collapsed buildings and destroyed shop signs. In the ruins, a small marigold is buried underneath the rubble. He doesn't dwell on it for long, quickly realizing he perhaps is one of the few people who knows how to defeat these monsters. But when he tries to shatter the Wanderer's protocore, as he had done when part of the Order of the Lightseekers, he finds no weapon at the hand or within sight. This era is far behind the level of technology they had on Phylos. His peaceful life has almost made him forget how to fight. As the monster's roar reaches his ears, he rolls over and watches helplessly as the marigold disintegrates in a dark blue energy wave. In the early days of the catastrophe, he briefly worked with Xavier in the most devastated areas. And standing in the middle of a severely damaged road, Xavier rescued a girl and disappeared soon after. Jeremiah knows that he must have found her. The disaster lasted much longer than anyone imagined. On January 1st, 2035, the Hunters Association was officially established. The president announces in the January 1 agreement that they have to coexist with Wanderers. The newly rebuilt Azure Square broadcasts this historical moment on a giant holographic screen. Jeremiah is in the crowd when it plays. It feels as if an ancient spaceship has finally landed, and the real Traceback mission has just begun. Chapter 5. Phylos. In 2037, Lincoln City's mostly rebuilt itself at an almost incredible speed. After mastering the purification and use of protocore energy, it's even more prosperous than before the disaster. Xavier walks around a corner and is hit by a floral scent. He looks up to see a flower shop called Philo. Its golden marigolds spilled out onto the street. It's all very familiar. He vaguely remembers this used to be a cake shop. The shopkeeper, carrying a potted plant, pushes open the glass door. His greeting is caught in his throat at the sight of Xavier. I bought this place, so I'm living here now. The backyard is a greenhouse, and the 3rd floor is a workspace. Jeremiah invites his long-lost friend into the shop and serves 2 cups of hot tea. The spaceship's launcher is... Did she eat dinner at your place that weekend? Xavier unexpectedly interrupts him with a long-lost memory, leaving Jeremiah somewhat at a loss. Oh, you mean Bella. He scratches his head. She did. And she immediately noticed that I rented the house. Bella said no one would clear out a house until it's only filled with flowers. She knew who I was from the start. and she said she saw me when she was a child. She also said she'd like to see my real home if she could. Jeremiah touches a small ring he wears on his necklace as he speaks. Then he tucks it back into his collar. Enough about me. How are you? Do you need a new identity? I can get you one. Xavier shakes his head, walking over to the cluster of blue flowers. In the center of the 5 petals is a small yellow star. Wavy leaf, sea, lavender. He hasn't seen one in quite a long time. I won't lie. I felt quite guilty these past 2 years. It seems like everyone had a reason to give up and leave halfway except for you. Well, you did too, but you wouldn't because no one could replace you. We all thought that you'd still make it to the end, even if you were the only one left. It's cruel, but sometimes I think those of us who left early can live their lives in peace as long as you're still holding on. You can always choose what kind of life you want to lead, Xavier says softly. It's as if the tiny suns illuminate the slightly wilted petals. Have you gotten used to Earth food? Jeremiah stands up. Captain, can I come back? Xavier looks at him, seemingly thinking his question is unnecessary. Just do what you think is right. By the time Xavier leaves Philo, night has already enveloped the newly built Lincoln City. On the overpass, Xavier looks down at the endless stream of cars and hurried pedestrians. Everyone is absorbed in their journey, and not a single person pauses to gaze at the stars above. Of course, it's late. Everyone is rushing home, like how all life ultimately returns to where it came from. No matter what he chooses, his fate always remains the same. Xavier, you've found her already, right? So why don't you settle down somewhere? As he leaves, Jeremiah's words echo in his ears. His gaze falls on the distant cityscape. Over the years, the light population in Lincoln City has become increasingly severe, making it impossible to see anything. He remembers the waterfall of stars he had seen deep in the forest. That's his last memory of his distant homeland. Maybe, this time, he can settle down. If possible, he wants a place where he can see the stars.